Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Andy265, and we are going to take the clips that you created on your cell phones or video cameras and bring them into Premiere Pro, and I'll show you how to get them cut up and export them out to Maya. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Click on New Project. You're going to want to name that project whatever you want. I'm going to call it Andy265 module, let's just say module 4. Now we can't leave, this is just your project name, so it won't matter if you put a number behind it, but I'm going to call this sequence A. Alright, and we want to tell it where we want it to go. It looks like it's going to my right location, so I'll leave it to that location. I usually put it in my projects folder, and you can see it's going into Maya projects folder. Template, just click on create. Don't have to create a specific template, just click on create. And you'll come up with this, which is really goofy, but we're going to go to edit. And once you go into edit, we'll go into file, and we're going to go into import. You want to click on the video or movie file that you created, whatever that may be. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And you can see in here, we've got a small preview window. If I double click on it, it'll show in a larger preview window, and you can play it if you want to. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop this into the timeline. Doesn't matter where you drop it. So go ahead and let go, and it'll automatically put it in video 1, V1. Okay, so this is your razor tool, and we're going to be using that to cut it up. I'm not looking to do any crazy stuff with Premiere Pro. We're just going to cut it up and take it from there. So I've got a lot of lead time here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the lead time just a little bit and just cut. And I'm going to go out, and you can see where I change gestures. Okay, go from one to the other, and then I'm going to let that go for a while, and I'm just going to cut the end of that off. All right, I'm going to go into selection mode. Just click on V. You can click on V as well. I'm going to click on the front. I'm going to go ahead and hit the delete key. And click on the end part. I'm going to move that over to the front. I'm going to go ahead and play this. That looks pretty good. We want a little lead time on all your pieces so we can show holding. So we've got some still holding, we're just going to, so we need a little bit in there, so the audience can see and understand what they're looking at. You need to give the audience time. All right, we don't need a lot of time, but that's about right. Something like that would be good. Okay, so a little before, if we just go strictly on the gesture, we start here and we end here, that's just not enough time for the audience or the eye to understand what's going on. So give it a little lead time holding in. So we got standing holds there and a standing hold there. That's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and export that. If I'm happy with that, you like what you got, then we're going to go ahead and export. So let's go to sequence, and we want to render in and out. So click on sequence, render in and out, and that will render this out. So now you're ready to export it. So let's go to File, and we're going to go to Export Media. Okay, and here we're not really worried about much of anything over on this side. We're going to go ahead and concentrate on this. I'm going to open up video and audio. Audio, we're not going to, if you had lip syncing, I would go ahead and keep that audio on, but we don't need that on, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to open up video. We're going to start up here. You never want to start with a name like 01, so we're going to go ahead and rename that. So I'm going to click on my first name, just my first initial last name. And I'm going to do underscore, and we're going to call this sequence A. Okay. I would do A, B, C, D, E. So we got 5, and this will be sequence A. Location, we want it to know where it's going. If I click on that, I can tell exactly where I want it to go. So I want it to go into the movies folder. This is my video, the sequence that I'm going to create. All right. So that's good. We know where it's going to go. So that's where it's going to, location it's going to place it. I'm good with that. And this is what it's going to be called. And we're going to do, instead of, well, we can go ahead and we're going to just keep it at custom. And then we're going to change this to JPEG. Okay. All right. So that looks good. Let's see, what else do we need? Export as sequence, yes. Frame rate, we need to change that to 24 frames per second. 25 wouldn't have hurt anything, but I do want to match it up with what we have in Maya. There's nothing else really to do here. Just make sure everything's set up. And it's going directly to SD NTSC 720 by 480. So just keep that in mind, whatever yours resolution is, write it down. And then we can bring it into Maya. Export as a sequence, 24 frames a second. We're good there. We've even got output information here. JPEG 720 by 480, 24 frames a second. And we've got a good quality, basically 2.0 seconds of video reference, and export. So it's not going to be a big file. So we're going to export that out. Won't take long, and it will tell you that your video is successful. Go ahead and close that. If you want to, go ahead and save your clip that you've done. So save your clip, and that's going to be sequence A. I'm going to call this probably A2, because this is my second time I've done this. So I'm going to click on that, click on save, and I'm going to go ahead and minimize that, and then I'm going to go into Maya. And let's say just say we don't have this up and running already, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. All right, so we've got 720 by 480, which is pretty small, really, which is fine. I'm going to go into create a plane, move that up, rotate it 90 degrees here in the X. I'm going to go 90, and we're going to change the subdivisions to 1 on width and 1 on height. Click enter. And in here for scale, you're going to want to do, I think, 7.20, 720 by, and let's see, 484.80. And it's such a low resolution, really doesn't matter. We'll just go with it and see how that looks. Once you get that in there, you're going to right click over the object, and you're going to go into assign new material. And in here, you're going to click on Maya, and you're going to click on Lambert. Under Lambert, you're going to rename that something like sequence A. And next to color, you're going to click on the option box. And here you're going to click on File. Turn the quadratic filter type to off. And we're going to find your sequence. Started your sequence anyway. So I'm going to go to Documents and find it. Didn't find it automatically. That's okay. Scroll down to 265, wherever that is. There we go. Picker. And the movies. And there's my sequence. Looks like I got a couple in here. Is that the one I have? I have no idea. I've done this quite a few times. So I think it's, yeah, it's this one here. So click on that first one and then click open. And then the only thing I have to do is click on use image sequence. And everything else should play. and I'm not sure how many frames I have in this one, but it looks like it worked. Okay. Before I had it longer, so I'm going to find out what the end result is. I think it's 54. So I'm going to change this end to 54. Okay. That way we know where the stop of the animation is. Now this basically is just for timing. As you can see, I've got a black top and a black bottom, so the aspect ratio was 16:9, but that's okay. I don't mind it having a little bit of top and bottom, so just move that back a little bit, put in a layer, and reference it so you don't accidentally select it by accident when you're trying to animate the character. Place it wherever you want, wherever is convenient for you, so you can see and use it as a good reference for your gesturing. And I would still focus on the start pose expression and the end finish pose expression, and then focus on what you have in between. So what does your face look like between the two, and how do you get your hands to that position? That's what you're really looking at. And how long does that take for your character to get into that position is what you're really looking for as far as timing goes. All right, and then the holding poses. You see these holding poses here. There's movement there. Even at the very end, you can see my hands moving too as well. Okay. Anyway, I'll see you guys later, and hopefully this was helpful.